First breaking developments in a story that we've been following out of New York City today. A man drives a truck through a crowd of people in what investigators are now calling an act of terror.
8 people are dead, more than a dozen injured. That driver, now identified as 29-year-old Sayfullo Saipov from Uzbekistan. He was shot and wounded by a police officer and is now out of surgery.
The NBC station in New York City is reporting that he left behind a note claiming he committed this attack for ISIS. Channel 2's Jacob Rescone, the first Houston reporter on the scene, live in Manhattan tonight with more on the story. Jacob?
Bill and Dominique, they say that he had pledged his allegiance to ISIS, and then he drove up to 20 blocks on this bike path, running into pedestrians and bikers in the deadliest terrorist attack in New York City since 9/11. When police finally detained the accused terrorist in Lower Manhattan, a man from Houston was just around the corner.
There's this bike path that it'll happen. We regularly ride our bikes there and run there, so we do realize how packed it is.
Mel Maguyep grew up in southwest Houston, but now this is his neighborhood, 5 minutes from the World Trade Center Memorial. His wife, Ann, has now survived 2 terrorist attacks in New York City.
It's very traumatic. I haven't seen something like this since 9/11.
Police say 29-year-old Sayfullo Habilovic Saipov immigrated to the U.S. from Uzbek in 2010. Today, police say he used a rental truck to kill at least 8 people and injure many others. An act of terror this Houstonian says will ultimately fail.
Very much like with Houstonians, with Harvey. I mean, I have a lot of friends and family that were down there, but you just keep fighting. You just keep moving forward, and you can't let these negative events affect your life.
And as you can tell, this is still a very active scene, of course, a terror investigation. We have learned that the 8 people who died were all men, 5 of them from Argentina, and among those injured, at least 1 was a child. Officials say this appears to be the act of a lone wolf and not part of any wider attack. Live in Lower Manhattan, Jacob Rescone, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Thank you, Jacob. And with big events happening across our city, safety top of mind for many Houstonians.
Channel 2's Robert Arnold continues our coverage now from Minute Maid Park downtown. Robert?
Security has been tight around Minute Maid Park. We've seen a lot of extra police officers patrolling the area. There are canine units helping monitor the crowds, and those going into Minute Maid are going through metal detectors. That said, though, we're not seeing anything different than the way Houston safeguards other major events in this city. As for the crowds inside Minute Maid, we talked to a lot of people, and they tell us they are well aware of what's going on in New York, but they are still not going to allow attacks like this to dictate their day-to-day actions.
There's no way for me to prevent it. It's just, you have to be careful with what's going on around you. You gotta, just take precautions.
I think we're all susceptible at any time the way that we are right now in 2016, 2017. So you just try to stay alert. But unfortunately, I don't think there is a way to prevent it.
Both Mayor Sylvester Turner and Houston Police Chief Art Acevedo tweeted their condolences to those in New York, and both said if New York needs help, then we are only a phone call away. Reporting live from Minute Maid Park, Robert Arnold, KPRC, Channel 2 News.
Our coverage of this breaking story extends to our website. You can monitor the very latest information on click2houston.com. It's right there on the top of our homepage.